Did you inherit $1 million from your grandparent, or are you about to become wealthy from someone else's hard work? If you say yes to these questions, this show is not for you. You, the hardworking, committed, and ambitious professional who have a 9-to-5 corporate job or a 12-hour shift worker keeping the assembly line running. Perhaps you run your gig as a freelancer, or maybe you run a small business. You are in the right place. Welcome to the Career Evangelist Podcast, where you get your weekly tips, ideas, strategies, and inspiration to find purpose in what you do so you can build a career you are passionate about and live a fulfilled life. Here is your host, Bola Alabi.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Career Evangelist Podcast. I'm your host, Bola Alabi, and today we are continuing with our two-part series on resume writing. If you follow this podcast, you know that last week we covered the do's. That's the essential things you must do so that you can create a resume that will get you noticed and ultimately get you hired. If you missed that episode, please check out episode 237 of this podcast. So this is the second part, episode 238. And today we are going to be talking about the don'ts. Those are the common mistakes and the pitfalls that could be sabotaging your chances of landing your dream job. So I'm talking about the don'ts of a resume. And these are the things that you want to avoid at all costs while drafting your resume. So without keeping you waiting any further, let's get into it. So the number one don't is don't overload your resume with irrelevant information. Your resume should be concise and focused on what's most relevant to the job that you are applying for. Including too much information may be tempting, especially if you are putting details that don't pertain to the role that you are applying for. But guess what? That can overwhelm the reader and it will ultimately dilute the impact of your key qualification. You see, the hiring manager he has maybe little time to go over your resume. So they scan it for just few seconds. So you got to make sure that every word counts. It may be tempting to add everything that you've done, but please don't do that. Don't put too much information. So my tip here is that you should avoid listing every job you've ever had, especially if you've had many years of experience or if you've had multiple roles with multiple organizations. Instead, here's what you should do. Focus only on the roles and responsibilities that directly relate to the position that you are seeking. So, number one, don't overload your resume with irrelevant information. Number two, the second don't use unprofessional language. Your resume should be polished and professional. Avoid using slangs or overly casual language or industry jargon that may not be clearly understood by everyone that may want to read your resume. Instead, you should stick to clear professional language that communicates your qualifications effectively. So here's my tip here. Instead of saying, for example, I killed it, I nailed it in my previous role. No, don't do that. You should say, I exceeded performance target by X percent. That's the same way of saying I nailed it. But now you are using professional language. Number three, don't neglect to update your contact information. This might seem obvious, but you'll be surprised about how often people forget to update their contact information on their resume. For example, a phone number or email address or LinkedIn profile that is out of date may mean you missing out on invitation or missing out on potential job opportunities. So what should you do? Always make sure that you double check your contact details and make sure that they are current before sending out your resume. So what's the tip here? You should make it a habit to review and update your resume periodically, especially before you apply for any new job. Number four, don't include personal information like your age, your marital status, or your picture. No, 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 no. We don't need all those information because in many parts of the world now, it is no longer appropriate or even legal to include your personal details like your age, your marital status, or your photo on your resume. These details aren't relevant to your qualifications and they can inadvertently introduce bias into the hiring process. What you want to do is to make sure your resume only contains information that will promote you, that will position you as the most suitable candidate for the role you are applying to. So you should stick to information that is directly related to your professional experience and skills. What's my tip here? I want you to focus on your skills, on your experience, and the value that you are bringing to the company rather than your personal details. You get me? Let's go to number five. Number five, don't forget to align your resume with your online presence. You see, in today's digital age, employers, they often look beyond your resume to your online presence. Yes, they are checking you out. So this includes making sure your LinkedIn profile, your personal website, or even social media are all aligned. Make them professional as much as possible. You should make sure that what you present in your resume is consistent with what you have online. Discrepancies between your resume and your LinkedIn profile, for example, can raise red flags for the employer. And you, my friend, you don't want that. So, what's my tip here? After updating your resume, you should review your LinkedIn profile to ensure that both reflect the same experiences and skills. That's important. You get it? Now let's go to number six. Don't rely on a generic resume template. Yes, using a template can save time, but relying on a generic template that hasn't been customized can make your resume blend in with the crowd. No, you want to stand out among the crowd. A cutter resume won't stand out to hiring managers, and it can suggest a lack of effort on your part. Instead, take the time to personalize your resume template to reflect your unique brand and qualifications. So, the tip here is that use a template as a starting point, but make sure to tweak it, the design, the content, and the layout to better represent you. Number 7, the final one, don't ignore the ATS. That's the applicant tracking system. Most companies these days, they use the applicant tracking system, ATS, to filter resume before they ever reach a human eye. Yes, this is all about productivity. If your resume isn't optimized for this ATS system, it could automatically get rejected, even if you are the perfect candidate for the job. So you should avoid using images, graphics, or unusual fonts that might confuse the ATS. Instead, again, focus on using clear, standard formatting and include keywords from the job description. What's my tip here? You should thoroughly research the job description and incorporate relevant keywords naturally into your resume to improve your chances of passing through the ATS. And there you have it, the don'ts of resume. By steering clear of these common mistakes, you'll be able to craft a resume that not only stands out, but also increases your chances of landing that all important interview. I hope you found these two-part series helpful as you work on perfecting your resume. If you did, please share this episode with others who could benefit. And don't forget to subscribe to the Career Evangelist Podcast so that you never miss out on a valuable career advice. As always, keep striving for success and remember your career is what you make of it. Until next time, this is Bola Halabi, the Career Evangelist, signing out. I hope you found this two-part series helpful as you work on perfecting your resume. If you did, please share these episodes with others who could benefit. And don't forget to subscribe to the Career Evangelist Podcast so you never miss out on valuable career advice. As always, keep striving for success and remember your career is what you make of it. Until next time, this is Bola Halabi, the Career Evangelist, signing out. Thank you.